Alright, we have our building in here and the image we want to use to create sort of a flat urban topography and some roads in here. So I want to go ahead and do that. First thing I'm going to do is just delete this floor that's in here. So I have a background, and then change this guy to a hidden line so we're not in wireframe, since we don't have anything to cover that, to hide this guy. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to go to my architecture and go to model line, because I want to have something to snap my topography points to, because you can't draw them in a rectangle, so I want it to be uniform. So I'm going to use model lines for that and erase them afterwards. So if I pick model line, it's going to draw on plane A1, which is what I want, and I'm just going to go to rectangle, and I'm just going to come in and maybe pick a rectangle that seems to make sense somewhere up here, and then we'll come and maybe get a bit of the road and clip it about right there, so it looks like 200 by 208. That seems fine. I'm going to left click there. Alright, and once I do that, I'm just going to hide I was kind of using the scope box, and I'm just going to hide that using VH. So now I just have a sort of cleaner drawing. Now, to make a topography, you're going to go to the Massing and Site tab and pick Topo Surface. And what it's going to want to do initially is place a point at 0 elevation. So it's just going to create a topography by placing points. So I'm going to place a point at each of the corners of this. Once I get to the third corner, it can make a plane, so it makes a topography. And I have just sort of flat piece of topography. And once I'm done with that, I have to hit the check or the X. We're actually in what's called a sketch mode. It's like a sub mode. And you'll see this pretty often in Revit. And I'm going to hit the big check to accept that. And it puts this topography in. So if we go to our section view here, I'm going to double click on section head, right? We look at this section view, you've got this topography sitting right here, right? And it's actually at the finished floor. So we'd like it to maybe drop a little bit more, maybe 4 inches, 3 inches at least, probably 6 minimum if you're actually building it so you're not getting flooding. But we'll go ahead and drop it maybe 4 inches. So I'm just going to WTZA, and I'm going to zoom in on this topography over here. Now it wants to pick those model lines because they're on top of it, and I don't really need those anymore, so I'm just going to hover over this model line and tap my tab key, not hold it down but tap it, and it'll pick everything that's connected. And I'm going to left click, and then I'm going to, and that selects them, and then I'm just going to delete them. So I've gotten rid of those lines. Now I can just pick the topography surface. And what I want to do is, it doesn't show the points. I actually have to go to Edit Surface, and that takes me into the sketch mode, and then it isolates this, and I can window around and pick those points, and I'm just going to lower the elevation to -4 inches, right? And then if I hit check, you'll see if I come in, that thing has dropped 4 inches. Maybe we'll do it even a little more. Maybe we'll just do 6. Right, -6 inches. Okay. And then sometimes if you go into a different command, you'll lose the big check in the action. You get kind of stuck here. But if I click on this Modify Edit Surface, it comes back. So I can check that. And now it's lowered at 6 inches. So we've got our topography in. Let's go ahead and select it, and the material is by category. So if I go to my 3D view, it's kind of an ugly brown, right? So I'm going to pick it, and I'm just going to go to the material here in the properties dialog box, which means this is an instance parameter, and click on the right side of it, and it'll bring up your material browser. And I'm just going to type in site, see what we've got. We'll pick Site Sand, use Render Appearance for shading, and go to the Render Appearance. And I'm just going to pull the image fade way down and lighten that up a little because it's a little yellow. Click OK. And then if I click off of it, you can see we got a lot of sand, right, if you get close enough to it. But from a distance, it's okay. So when we come back, what we'll do is we will add in the roads. and then start with the buildings.